What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and today we are going to be breaking down all of the reveals thus far for Dragon Ball Super card game Fusion World. Getting a little late to this. I had some family over the course of the past week visiting, and I just haven't really had time to really sit down and discuss my thoughts on all these cards up until now. But we're going to get into it today, so let's kind of jump in. So first off, we got in red, we have the Son Goku Mini from Daima. Super Saiyan front side, Super Saiyan back side. Nothing crazy on his front side. When he awakens, draws one card per normal. And then activate main once per turn. Choose up to one battle card with Daima in its card name in your battle area, and it gets 10,000 power for the turn. We've already seen like stuff like this being kind of applied. He's basically Starter Coup, but a better Starter Coup. Offensive Starter Coup, I should probably say. Being able to just boost up any Daima card by 10,000 is insane. We already got some Daima support from last set. We have like the SR Goku that becomes a 30,000 power battle card at a 2 cost when your leader is awakened. Being able to like boost him up to a 40,000 power battle card is just strong. It's very strong. Basically, I would say that this is a more offensive, better version of Starter Coup, and I'm all for it. My biggest issue is that he's Super Saiyan on both the front side and the back side. They couldn't have made him Super Saiyan 2, like, because I mean this is basically referencing the Tamagami number 3 fight. So it's kind of weird that that they are. I don't want to say they're going the cheap route, but they're not really putting a lot of thought into into this particular leader. But I guess there could be limitations that Toei doesn't want them to jump on and or go. They don't want them doing anything. They don't want to go too far. Maybe they want to use the Super Saiyan 2 version later. We'll have to see, I guess. But still, leader could be very strong, and especially when it comes to the support that's kind of coming with Daima Goku, like this Glorio. Glorio's a 4 cost. He's 25,000 power, 0 combo. On play, if your leader is awakened, your opponent's leader gets minus 5,000 power for the turn. And then when he attacks once per turn, if your leader is Daima in its card name, you switch this card to active mode. So you combine the leader ability of that Goku with this Glorio. He's going to be a 35,000 power dual attacker that's also minusing your opponent by minus 5,000. It almost makes this guy almost like a mini like Broly SR in green. The 8 cost Broly. Because most leaders are going to be about 20,000 power. So they're going to minus it by 5,000. Which means, and then if you boost this guy by 10,000, your opponent is basically going to have to give you 2 super combos as well as an extra card just to block both of those attacks, which is a lot of pressure. And that's not taking into account anything else that is going to be on your board, present on your board in that moment too. So this card is just insane. I'm hoping, and I don't think there's going to be, but I'm hoping we don't get more support like this in the future, at least in red, because that is just nasty. It's a nasty, nasty combination. Then we got Pansy SR. She's a 2 cost, 20k power, 0 combo. On play, she's a Self-Awakener. Add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. And then when she's KO'd, if your leader has Daima in its card name, draw 2 cards. I think this card's really great for the early game. It's a little questionable in terms of how effective it's going to be to draw those 2 cards. There's a lot of KO mechanics in the game, but there's also a lot of ways to get around when KO mechanics. Red can just minus, blue can easily bounce this. Green has a new way to ramp stuff off board that's troublesome on board. Yellow can just freeze this down. And then, black can also bounce stuff back to your hand. It's really, there's so many other ways to get around this card. I just don't see how the secondary effect is going to get use. And red kind of the one thing red kind of lacks is like any semblance of like board protection. So if there was something that could maybe stop every other effect besides minusing, then maybe I could see some cards something working in this way, but I don't see it happening. Next we have Pansy number 2. Pansy she's a rare, 1 cost, 15,000 power, 5k combo. Permanent skill on your turn. If your leader is awakened, this card in a battle area gets 5,000 power. This card's actually very good. It's almost like a mini Margarita. But in just a 20,000 power swinger for 1. Could be very good for some blitz damage. And if you take this card in particular and couple that with the leader ability of giving an extra 10,000, she's a 1-cost 30k power swinger. Could very well be used as like a late game swing that could maybe go for game, depending on how much combo power and boosting power you're able to kind of put on her. But still a very good card, all things considered. There is another Pansy, but we will talk about her in another video because we don't need to make this. We don't need to make red all about Pansy at the moment. So, all right, now we got Blue Vegito. This is a card I think a lot of people have been waiting for in blue. Vegito has been kind of hinted at as being a leader for a while now with all the Vegito cards, and that's kind of been thrown our way. On the front side, when your life is at 4 or less, you place the top 10 cards of your deck into your owner's drop, then flip this card over. So what's crazy about this is that you're self-milling, and then on top of that, you're also not getting a card when you flip. So you really need to think about when you're going to, flip this guy over, and kind of go from there, right? There's a possibility, I think, since with the no, you can't reset this guy. Never mind. I was thinking the Boo leader, but this is nothing like the Boo leader in that regard. So yeah, flip it over. And then, so on the back side, permanent on your turn, if you have 20 or more cards in your drop, this card gets 20,000 power, and then you draw when you're attacking. So I feel like this is probably going to be one of, if not the best leader of the set. The fact that you can just swing for 40,000 if you're at 20 cards or more, and there's so many ways to just mill stuff into your drop as well. Basically, you're going to defend yourself as best as you possibly can early game because you don't want to awaken too fast. That's the gimmick with blue. You play defensively. But if you're able to get 1 or 2 of the secret rare Vegitos on the board with this guy, you're going to have like 4 to 5 like 40k swingers, potentially 4 50ks and a 40k swing if you can completely deck yourself out in the late game. Like, that's strong. I don't think there's any way that most of the decks in the format are going to be getting over that. So there's got to be, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm hoping that there's going to be some bigger like board mechanic stuff or like hard removal stuff being introduced into this set, because I don't know how you're getting around this leader with the 6-cost Vegitos without Zeno on the board. It's a little early to say. I'm not gonna be all doom and gloom until I see what the full set's gonna looking like. But this is strong. This is a very, very strong leader card. And that goes to show that, we're going to get a lot more milling options and a lot more mill type mechanics kind of thrown in here. Like this Vegeta. The 2-cost 10k power, 10k combo, where on play you add up to 1 blue card with a cost of 3 from your drop to your hand. I think it's interesting that it's specifically telling you to add up to 1 blue card, which means that they're future-proofing this card for multicolor down the line, which I think is really cool. Then activate battle, switch this card in a battle area to rest mode. If you have 20k or more cards in your drop, your Son Goku with a cost of 3 that's in a battle gets 30,000 power for the battle. So we know the other SR based off of the early teasers. We know that there is an SR Son Goku that's a 3-cost that's coming with this guy, and it's clear that they're going to be in tandem. Now, what the Goku is doing, we don't necessarily know what the plan's going to be, but the secondary effect I think is going to be a little bit harder to facilitate, and I think there's just better things to be playing later in the game than this guy with the Goku. The reason it's going to be awkward is because you need both of those cards on the board at one time to be able to do it. So I'm wondering if the 3-cost Goku might have some free play mechanic kind of thrown in there, and I feel like the free play mechanic is like fine, just due to the fact that like in order to be able to activate this guy's ability, you need to have the 20 or more cards in your drop. So there's a hard condition that needs to be met in order for this guy's effect to proc off, and yeah, I just think, I don't know what else the Goku could really be doing outside of free playing, maybe self-awakening at a 3-cost. Who knows? We'll have to kind of wait and see. But this guy seems like he could be pretty strong depending on how strong and how effective the Son Goku is going to be. Then we have another Gotenks card for blue. It's crazy how much Gotenks support is in this game. 2 cost, 15k power, 10k combo. Permanent skill on your turn. If you have 10 or more cards in your drop, this card in a battle area gets 10,000 power. And then on play, he's a Self-Awakener. Really good Gotenk support. Able to really kind of facilitate a lot of the... I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily facilitates anything. He's basically a battle card that Self-Awakens. But I mean, he's thematic with what a lot of the Gotenk stuff that you can kind of throw in there. So he goes up to a 25,000 power battle card, which is good. He's a 10k combo. So he's really strong defensively too, and he's a Self-Awakener. Good card all around. I don't have any issues with this guy. And then to wrap up the blue package, we got Hercule. He's a 1 cost, 5k power, 5k combo. On play, place the top 2 cards of your deck into your drop. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your drop, you draw 1 card. He's basically a milling cantrip for the late game. You probably are not using this guy too early on because you need to hit that 10 or more cards in your drop, like restriction that's kind of put in place. But I mean, you know, for a late game cantrip that can help to facilitate the 20 or more cards for the leader effect and for the Vegeta and stuff like that, I think this is fine. I'd probably play other cantrips, but if you're looking to like focus on the mill aspect, I think it's fine. Then we get into the Goku in green. So on draw, so when attacking, he draws a card. On the front side, when your life is at 3 or less, you draw 1 card and then flip this card over. So he loses his draw. He loses his draw when he awakens. But he has a permanent skill where he is a 30,000 power swinger on your turn. And then at the end of your turn, you discard 1 card from your hand. And if your life is at 2 or less and you have 7 or less energy, add the top card of your deck to your life. So I think this guy's gonna be extremely defensive. Green kind of needed a bit of a defensive juggernaut, I think, because Broly's not really like defensive. He's probably more offensive than anything else. But this guy, like, we know that the new secret rare is a 7 cost, so whatever. We don't know what he does yet though. But clearly you don't want to be going over 7. Which is, once again, another way to play these green decks that doesn't necessarily require you to go to 8, which I think is great. I think variety is good for, is a good change of pace for green. But he wants to be at 2 or less life in a lot of cases. So there's a lot of support that this guy's getting. We'll just kind of have to wait and see how it pans out with the rest of the support that's coming this set. But I think this Goku's going to be pretty cool. He's doing some interesting things. So now we got Krillin. He's the SR for Goku. It's a 2 cost, 20k power, 5k combo. He's a Self-Awakener on play. And when KO'd, you add up to 1 card from your hand to your energy and rest mode. Once again, really easy to get around these when KO effects. Green doesn't really have anything that protects 2 costs. So this guy can easily get ramped. He can get minused. He can get bounced back to hand, bounced on the board, or bounced to the bottom of the deck. You know, there's just ways to get around this guy. So I don't know how good the when KO effect is going to be useful. But he's a Self-Awakener for Goku that's able to swing, so I don't got any qualms with this. This card's really good. Son Goku. He's a rare, 3 cost, 20k power, 10k combo. Permanent skill on your turn. If your life is a 2 or less, this card in the battle area gets 15,000 power, and then add up to 1 card from your hand to your life. So he's a Self-Awakener in the early game, which I think is really good. And then when you are at that 2 or less threshold that the Son Goku leader kind of wants to be at, he's a 35k swinger for 3. Really strong card, really cheap option to play if you want to blitz some damage out. Again, this is a really interesting mechanic for green, so I want to see what the rest of the support for this Goku is going to look like before we kind of determine how good the curve is going to be with him. But I mean, that's the cards so far have been pretty interesting to say the least. Then we have a unlockability extra card, 5 cost. Activate main, you choose up to 1 of your battle cards in your battle area, gets 15,000 power for the turn. Then, if your life is at 1, you add the top 2 cards of your deck to your life. So this, I don't know how often this card's going to see play. It's a 5 cost, so it's going to cost a lot for you to be able to get there. You can't use the SR Piccolo because you need to be at 8 cost or more in order to facilitate the free play that he can give you. So, It'll be interesting to see if there's another card in this set that minuses extra card cost. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But I mean, this card basically boosts something up on your board and then basically gives you 2 life back. I mean, it's a strong effect. It's just a matter of when do you play this. Then there's Dr. Brief's Spaceship, which is a 1 cost. If your leader is Son Goku and your life is a 2 or less, you draw 2 cards. Really good if you want to like go for game in the late game. Doesn't necessarily help you if you want to get your life back. So this is probably something you want to play at 2 life, not necessarily 1 life. Considering that the leader ability is able to get you back up to 3. So I think this is a good card for the cost that it is. It's just going to be, once again, it's an extra card that can only be really beneficial in the late game, and it's going to be dependent on when the through line is to play this. Next, we get into the surprise leader of the set, at least in my eyes. It's Janemba. Janemba is a standard leader on the front side. And then when he awakens, his awaken ability is interesting. When attacking, you switch up to 2 of your energy to active mode. And then he has a once per turn activate main where you pay 2 energy to draw a card. And then you choose up to 1 battle card in your opponent's battle area and switch it to rest mode. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this ability. Basically, the first thing that you're doing with this card is you're activating the main first, because then you're able to swing and you're able to get the 2 energy that you spent for it back. But if you're putting this much effort into doing that, I don't understand why it couldn't just be a draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 battle card and switch it to rest mode. I'm not 100% sure what the switching energy to active is going to necessarily do for this Janemba. I'm assuming because there's other support that kind of does the exact same thing that this is doing, that it's basically designed to like make it so you can constantly play battle cards, depending on how you kind of pilot the deck. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting effect. I don't hate the ability. I just think it's just a little overly technical when I don't think it necessarily has to be, especially with the other cards in the set. Like, I think I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it is a strong effect though, and this Janemba could potentially be stronger than Majin Buu is in set 4, depending on what the rest of the support looks like. But the big outlier here for yellow is that there's a lot of Jaguar Island support, Bio Broly stuff. You got this 1 cost searcher in Lord Jaguar, who's a 5k power, 10k combo. He's got an activate main where you switch him to rest mode, and then you add up to 1 non-Lord Jaguar card with a cost of 3 or less, and Jaguar's Island in the special traits from your drop to your hand. This is really interesting because maybe I'm not remembering the movie as well as I think I do, but like there wasn't that many like side villains or like minions that I recall from the Bio Broly movie. And we know that Janemba is getting like the otherworld support with like all the villains breaking out of hell and attacking Earth. So there's kind of like this weird like conflict in terms of special traits being thrown into this particular deck. So I'm not 100% sure why Bio Broly is getting an inclusion in this set. Maybe there's going to be some Bio Broly support next set. Maybe we're getting a Bio Broly leader. Who knows? Again, it's just odd. It's a very odd decision to throw Jaguar's Island in here, which is a very niche special trait, when there's other things that you want to be running with the Janemba, like the Another World special trait. We know we're getting Ginyu stuff. We know like Zanya is part of the package. We know that we're getting a new Frieza, so it's just weird that this is here. Now that being said, the Bio Broly cards are actually pretty solid. So you got this 5-cost Bio Broly. Can't be searched with the Lord Jaguar card, but he's a 35,000 power card, 0 combo. On play, he replaces himself, and then you can switch 2 of your energy to active mode. It's really strong if you couple this with the fact that you're basically playing this guy for 3 instead of 5. It's pretty crazy to like look into that, to see that. And then if you couple that with the fact that like Janemba is just basically able to replace is able to replace the energy, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool tech when you actually like see stuff like this. And then you have the 3-cost Bio Broly that Lord Jaguar can search for. 3 cost, 20k power, 10k combo. When attacking, if you have 2 or more active energy, you draw a card. So basically, the way that I'm kind of seeing this is that, the way that I kind of see this is that you play this guy for 2, you swing with the leader, and then you're able to swing with this guy to draw a card then too. I don't know. I need to see more tech. I need to see more of the support that Janemba's going to be getting in order to really like understand like what the actual play line is going to be for this particular deck. But I mean, there's some cool options here for Janemba that can like facilitate the energy manipulation that it's kind of trying to do. And then he's got an extra card, Dazzling Onslaught. It's a 2 energy card. Activate battle. Your cards that are in a battle get 25,000 power for the battle. Then you switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. This card is going to be good, I think, in a lot of yellow decks, especially in Vegeta, who's already like doing like energy manipulation stuff. It's going to be good in Janemba. Being able to just pay 2 energy to boost something up by 25,000, I think that's already better than, what is it? The absorption card by with like Go Tanks on it for the Boo deck. I think it's just going to be a better use of energy in that regard. I think this is a good card. This is a good card for Janemba and other yellow decks. Still needs hard removal of some sort, but I'm sure we'll get it at some point. And last but not least, we're getting into black. Gogeta. This is the deck that I was looking forward to, and I gotta say, it's a little underwhelming, but I'm hoping the support that's coming with it will kind of make sense as to why he's a little underwhelming. We'll have to see. But on his front side, when you're at 4 or less, flip this card over so he does not draw on Awakening, which is unfortunate and a little weird. I don't know why that's the case. But then on his Awaken side, once per turn, if you pay an energy. If you don't have an energy marker, you place 1 energy marker. So I mean, you're basically paying an energy to get a marker back. So it's almost like you're netting even, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm wondering if there's going to be more energy manipulation of some sort in black. Maybe there'll be cards that'll reset some energy back when you play them. I have no idea. It's very underwhelming. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping the support's really good for Gogeta, but this is a very bare bones and almost questionable leader effect. That said, I mean, it's a generic effect. So I mean, we know that the most generic, the best leaders in the game are the ones that are the most generic. So this could have the means of being good. It's weird that we're paying an energy to basically get an energy back. It doesn't really make sense to really do that. And then he doesn't awaken either. He doesn't draw on Awakening, which also is just weird to me. Baby is getting more support, which I like. I know a lot of people are already complaining about this card, but I mean, Baby getting more support means that he's not going to get a whole lot more support, which means he's not going to be any better than what he already is. So I don't think this card's necessarily doing that for him, but it is a strong card. It's a Bulma Brainwash, 2 cost, 5k power, 10k combo. On play, she's a Self-Awakener, and then she's got an Activate main where you switch this card in a battle area to rest mode to draw a card. This is insane. This is a very strong effect because you're Self-Awakening, which depending on the build in which you're playing the baby, you might be a little limited in your Self-Awakeners that really benefit off of his leader effect. So having an extra Self-Awakener that's part of his whole traits and special package is really good. But then on top of that, you're basically replacing her on the first. You're basically playing her to Self-Awaken, and then you're drawing a card to replace itself or to replace herself. And then if you're already, awakened, you can just combo with her, and you're getting the 10k combo value with the baby card. It's a strong card. I'm very excited to have more support for Baby. I kind of wish Bardock got like support like this, but that's neither here nor there. But we'll see. Then we got Veku, the 3 cost, 20k power, 10k combo, who's a blocker. End of your turn, if you have an energy marker, switch this card in a battle area to active mode. So this is cool. It's a 20k power blocker for a 3 cost. He's a little bit harder to remove. But he's not like, He's not. It's not. Once again, like he's not all that hard to get around. But what's neat about him is that you can play him, you can swing with him, and then if you have the marker, he basically resets, which forces your opponent to kind of play around this guy, which I think is perfectly fine and works for what it is. Now, whether this is going to be something we run in the deck, we'll have to kind of wait and see. Maybe you run this at a 2 of, maybe a 3 of. We'll have to see what the rest of the set kind of does. And then last but not least, we got a Trunks Youth, 2 cost, 20k power, 5k combo. On play, if you removed an energy marker to use this card, play up to 1 skill-less Sun Goten with a cost of 2 from your hand. So obviously there's a 2 cost skill-less Sun Goten. So we know that we're getting something like that here. But I mean, this is really good early game pressure. You literally can play this on turn 1. You basically play this on turn 1 to get a 15k swing, a 20k swing, and another 20k swing, basically, on turn 1, which is a strong play. Could also be very beneficial in the late game. If you're at 6 energy with a marker, you use 1 energy with a marker to play this guy, and then play the skill-less Goten out for some late game pressure on the cheap. You know, it's not really much to say here. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't really give us an idea of what Gogeta is kind of trying to do. But obviously we got an SR Pycon that's on the way. We got an Otherworld Goku and an Otherworld Vegeta that's coming too. So we'll have to kind of wait and see with more reveals of what this is going to end up looking like. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for sitting around and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really goes a long way to supporting the channel. And we're almost at 300 subscribers. Do greatly appreciate all the love and support up until this point. It really means a lot to me. This video will be going up today, and then tomorrow will be Christmas Day. So there will be one video. It's a different video from what I normally do. Is going to be going up tomorrow for Christmas Day for you guys to enjoy over the holiday if you want to. But other than that, if you guys don't see that video tomorrow, I wish you guys all a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.